Well, hello and welcome back to Red Fox Classics, and we're continuing today looking at this 1969 Mk2 GT6. Now, the last thing we did was repaired the hatch, which didn't require a great deal, and then finally got the gearbox put together using internals from a Dolomite 1850 box and a modified main shaft. So that's all now sat under the bench and waiting for the day when it can actually go on the car. And it's time to look at a bit of bodywork again. Now, I've got this rear wing repair panel, but I've been having a look around here and there's going to be more to do. And I think cutting this, while this is off, or whatever we cut off here is off, then that's probably going to be the time to start thinking about replacing the boot floor, because it will be easier to weld, at least this side. I think I'm probably not going to take, well, we'll see what the other side of the wing, we'll see what the wing on the other side looks like, but it has been replaced at some point in the past, and I would like to avoid taking it off. Well, I'd like to be able to avoid taking it off, but the fitment, at least at the front, looks a bit questionable, so don't know. Anyway, doing the boot is going to be easier while there's not an outer panel on the bottom of this wing, but there's lots of bits around here that need some attention. So to start with, well, I've had a clean up of the outside of this panel. You can see it like there, that's rust starting to come through, so is that. And as we're taking this inner seam off anyway, we'll see how good it is under here. Chances of it not needing repair probably quite low. Anyway, so there's going to be that bit to do. So I've got the remnants of this Wheelarch repair panel that can be used to put in here. Obviously this bit's not too difficult to make, but we've got pre-made piece, so let's use it. There's obviously a big dent in there, so I want to see if I can do something like that. And down here we've had the patch put off the top of the wing at some point, so that's a bit of a mess, and it kind of extends all up here too. Now I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to use, but even kind of roughly held on, it deals with most of the damage here. So, you know, this section I would like to keep, and it's feeling like it's going to make sense to just go across like that, but we shall see. There's a little bit of repair needed up there too. And once we look inside here, you know, there's going to be more rot. So I think what I'll do first is cut off this patch over the top of the wing, clean up some of these welds just so they're a little bit more flush, and then see how that starts to fit and move on from there, because there's going to be stuff inside the wing that we'll find. Just got to take it one bit at a time and making sure we've got the outer panel so it can fit before we start cutting more and more stuff off. It's probably going to be the best thing to do. So let's get on with that. Right, so that's what's come off. There's not a lot left. And underneath, it's a little worse than I thought it was actually, because I thought there was more of this inner panel. So what we've got here, we have the outer wing. Then we have this panel, and then we have the boot floor, or the rear valance. The rear valance welds to that as well. And you can just about see there's a plate over the edge there. And that means we're going to need to go quite high up on that inner panel, which is probably going to mean, regardless of what I would prefer not to cut away, probably going to talk about at least there, I'm going to have to take, just to be able to see what's going on and repair the inside. And as much as I would like to fit the outer panel, I can't really, because of the shapes. I can't really get it to sit anywhere without cutting a lot more of this away. So I think what I'll probably do first is repair this section down to a reasonable way past this, well, wherever that panel might come to. So I've got the chance to use less of that panel if I want to. Probably to about here. Just put in a little section there. Then at least that's done while there's still a little bit of structure on blocking this wing. So, you know, when this gets cut away, that's going to hold stuff in place. And then one thing I'm going to have to do is cut more of the wing away, repair that inner panel down to here, so we know that we've got, so that inner panel should be flat and straight down. So make that repair section. So we've got flat surface. We can either cut or mark or whatever the corner where the bottom of the wing should be by either measuring the other side if it's still there, or the Spitfire, which I built, but you know, at least it gives us something to aim for. And then fit the outer panel up to that flat inner surface. So I'll get a little bit of metal bent and start shaping it over here. So cut that out there. It didn't require a lot of cleaning up really, because there wasn't a lot of wing remaining. But let's get a new bit of metal and put it in. Got that bent. So now, if you can see there, about where my thumb is, it's touching, and it's just slightly bent there, ever so slightly bent there, and then it would fit. And I'd have to also curve the edge that's touching the actual wing a little bit. But let's see if we get the curve shape by stretching the edge I'm holding. So now I need to try and make that curve a tiny bit that way. I'm going to try and put just a little bit of shrink in the edge. See if that lets us. Okay, so got that little bit made, and it's fitting right. Might need a little bit of tweak as it goes in. I've had a clean up of this flange with spot blaster and one of them things. I might get these primed, and then we'll start welding it in. Okay, so I got that bit in. You can still feel there's a weld there, but you know, I'm starting to hit the parent metal a bit too much, so that's going to be what it is. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit dark, more unfocused, so I can't really, you know, I can't really see very well down here, so I'm going to stop for tonight. But I think the next thing is going to be chop some of this off. I think I'm probably going to have to cut most of it off, because I'll definitely need to go down there and then trying to line up a seam through anywhere really lower is going to end up me trying to put a seam in a double curve rather than just a single curve, which is more or less what we got here. So I think I'm going to cut off, you know, stick that over, cut off, you know, maybe half an inch below where I think that's going to sit, and then I'm going to be able to fit that up, cleco it in place along the top. Well, actually, as I said, I'm probably going to build the inner structure first, but anyway, I have cut most of this wing away, or, well, you know, the bottom bit. Alright, so there's plenty to do here. That strip along the bottom is definitely going to want to be replaced. If we look up into here, we are going to need to go quite high up. Actually, look under how scabby the boot floor is as well. So I both want to cut this off and don't want to cut this off. Okay, I don't really see I've got much other option. I'm going to stick this on roughly where I think it's supposed to go. I'll cut off like a good inch below that. And then we'll see what can be repaired underneath. Let's get this mess cleaned up and see what's solid-ish still. Okay, so that could be worse. There's not actually much of this inner plate left here on the edge. I think it's only got something still in existence because of the replacement rear valance. Anyway, I know from here to here it's supposed to be flat, and I think there's a little bend there. But anyway, we've got playing with the valance which we're going to match up to anyway. But I'm going to do two pieces, just flat bit over here and extend it low down. It's going to take a bit of paper or something to mark out where that hole is, and it'll probably come in like there. This is a bit frilly, but you know, it's only the very bottom of this arch, so it's not bad. And also, you know, then here I'm going to kind of go wedge shape there. Yeah, so I'll grab some metal and get on with it. Okay, so I've just kind of cracked on and got this done. This is just a nice flat piece, so just weld it straight in. And I've actually managed to, it seems to have managed to save quite a lot of this corner, which I was wondering if I'd be able to do. But I'm obviously going to have to build this bit. Just working in here, and I'm seeing how this valance was actually attached in the first place. I thought it had just been stitch welded on the very outer lip, but it's been stitched on the inner as well, so I guess that was sort of stronger, and it was made it difficult to remove. But I think that's crispy. It's all pretty nasty, so I think I'm just going to put the ledge on very, very carefully, and then a bit cut to throw in there. So I got that little edge on, welded, ground, primed. I got the bit to go over the top, also ready to go. I'm going to plug weld that on and then probably spot weld the outer panel on. But I was kind of concerned last time with leaving voids where the spot welding 2 layers and then spot welding the 3rd layer together. Anyway. Alright, that lot's all in and ground down as much as it needs to be on this sort of face. So all I need is flat there. So I put my extra panels on. This, which is hidden under the wing, whatever. You know, this is hidden, doesn't matter. And the other side I will probably do when there's no flooring there. But not right now. Anyway. That wants to go on something like that. What I'm going to do now is cut away some of this lip so I can actually put that there, and that's going to let me slide it backwards so it'll actually fit a bit better there. And then I can start to decide what I want to cut. I think I'd like to stick with this cut line and trim this bit because there's nothing really wrong with this, and it keeps us nice and far away from that bumper hole, and we're keeping as much original metal as possible. And also I don't really like the look of this peak here, and that's feels more like it should be up there. It should be. Well, this will be easy to replace if I cut too much. Okay, so I've trimmed away that little bit there, letting me shove the panel backwards a bit, and it's sitting up against what remains of the Wheelarch lip. So I think it's going to be approximately right, and that has brought it up at the front a little bit versus where I had it before. But that was only supposed to be a rough first position. I don't like that at all. Well, I measure straight down from the top of the wing here. And I know my other wing is a replacement. So this might not be a great comparison, but that give me 20 1/4 to the crease. It's more like dead on 20 on the other side. I'll go around this too. So I've just been kind of thinking about what I can do with this, and I've temporarily put the old piece of wing back on. I thought about trying to save a bit of it, but I don't think it's worth it, because it'd be about an inch's worth, and then we'd have 2 weld seams. So yeah, but what I was interested in was here, and like that is actually a straight line from there to there, or so slightly curved that I can't see it, and then it curves a little bit down here. I've also tried to mark where the edge is probably going, or the edge probably was. So that's going to help me, hopefully help me line that up a bit better. I'm still having a bit of a think about how I want to do it before I cut anything, so I might come and do something a bit easier, like that. Take that lip off. Okay, so I've cut the edge off there. I've cut a little bit more off of here, there. I can slip the panel underneath the existing panel. Now, obviously it's sticking out the front there, but also, you know, that's the fact it's underneath, it overlaps, holding it a bit forward, so that will shuffle backwards. So I think the size there is okay. I'm quite happy with the position, because if I peer under here I can see the various lines I made. They look alright. I don't like that at all. That's wrong. I'm just going to go and flatten that out, but that hopefully is going to bring this area up, not this area out. This curve wasn't quite enough, so all I did was took the panel and stuck it over my knee and gave it a good bend to pull that out. And I think that's pretty good. Actually, I'll just redo that measurement. Yeah, so measuring straight down there, matching up alright with the other side. Yeah, it's giving me like 19 3/4 inches now on both sides to that crease to the top of the wing. So I think I'm happy with that. So next thing will be just to flatten that out a little bit and see how it all fits on then. Okay, so that has flattened out okay, and I've just gone around trying to sharpen up that edge a little bit on the bench and tip this around a little bit more because the bend is not sharp enough. Yeah, I'm going to have to have another go at that. But once that's pushed forward, or backwards rather, I think this is fitting alright. Yeah, I need some manipulation along there to get everything to be happy. Not quite sure what to do now, because I need to be able to take this on and off, because I need to be able to build a bit in here. But I'm not sure that I want to overlap it. Because what I could do is mark here, trim it down a bit, joggle along there, slip it underneath, and I could put cleat pins in here, and that would be it done. But when I tried to do something similar over there, I still got a sink in the weld. I couldn't do anything about it, so I couldn't really get my hand behind there to hit it, to get a dolly behind. Here I can, so I should be able to planish a butt weld. But that would mean I've got nowhere to position it. Now obviously I probably could, I could do that. I could do the joggle and then I could cut the joggle off when I'm finally positioning it perhaps. I could pin through the edge. Not sure, need to have a bit of a think. Okay, so I've been off doing other stuff. Well, been away for work a couple of days. Also, been able to take the Spitfire engine down to be machined, so that's all the way. I'm going to spend some time, painting up parts for the engine when it comes back. Now I'm going to look at GT6 again, and I think I'm going to start off with something hopefully quite easy. Just take that bit off and replace it with a bit of this Wheelarch. This is an easy enough bit to make, but I've got the panel. So I'm just going to chop about an inch off the bottom of the repair panel for this section here and get that in, because this is all quite rotten. Or, well, not quite rotten, but it's going there. You can see the flange on the other side, which we're also going to replace, is bad, so
best thing to do is just going to be to do the whole of that. So I shouldn't be surprised at this point that some bit of repro panel doesn't really fit very well at all. Still annoying though. So I'm either going to have to take that end and remake that edge, or try folding this a little bit further along. I'm going to try here, because that'll be a bit easier then to make. The lighting here is pretty horrible for camera, but it's quite nice outside, so that's what we got. Right, so this is taking a lot. I've had the little flange and shrunken stretcher, a lot of bending over my knee on bits of suspension, and I've had to make that extra bend there, but it's all right now. I think I'm going to be able to start fitting it, welding it in place. So I'm going to give some bits clean up and then start getting it welded in. Okay, that's primed, clamped in. I had to move this bend further back after I managed to squash it in a bit here, so it's just a bit of an awkward shape. Anyway, let's get that welded. Okay, so that's welded in. Obviously not been recording a lot of this because the light is awful. Well, the light is nice. It's awful for filming. And there's no way I'm getting a camera in here, as well as my head. So, that's in. It's looking alright. Looks alright from the other side. I've got, I've forgotten a bit in there. Got the little bottom bits plug welded on. So get that ground. And maybe I will think about that again, because the problem is I'm vaguely remembering this from the Spitfire as well. That is flat, and then there's a slight bend, and then that is flat, and that doesn't have that shape. I don't remember the proper full wings having that shape either, and I can't remember what I did, so I have to do it again, make it up again. But I'm trying to get this at least in place enough to be able to build this bit of Wheelarch, which is all I really want, because I want to be able to get the spot weld around here and do the boot floor when put the boot floor in, which is looking like it might be the next job. Of course, there's going to go back to the front. There's also like all this lip is horrible, so I'm going to need to replace quite a large chunk of the hatch lip, which is going to be a bit of a fiddle. Anyway, I'll just get that ground and think while I'm doing that. Right, Wheelarch is in, ground touched up, looking alright. I'm going to have to hammer that in a little bit there. Otherwise that bit's done. I'll see if I can get the shape of the bottom of that a little bit closer. So I managed to get this fitting a bit better on the car just by, I marked where my change in direction was, just gave it a bit of a sit on the bench and a tap to make a little crease, and then I manipulated this bit, just hammered it down a little bit to flat, make sure it's flat, straight, and then I was able to kind of do the same here. So that from that point that was flat, but just curving slightly away, or did a slightly different angle, and now it fits alright in the car. So I'm going to use this and the bit on the car now as a template to make myself a little flange here, and that will then form part of the repair to the inner Wheelarch. my angled bit of metal. I'm going to make it fit in there. Which I'm going to do by shrinking in here. Well, actually what I want to make it look like is the one on the car. But this gives us a good starting point. Yeah, so something like that. But if we look now, it's also got a curve in the other direction, which means I need to be able to put a bit of stretch in there. Obviously jamming that in the jaws of the stretcher has made it quite flat, so correct a bit of that. That'll probably do. Okay, so I give it a quick check on the car. Probably then what I'll do is make a little cut. Well, actually that will cut off and that'll just bend down, so lock that end off, fold this against the edge of the wing, trim up here so it will fit on the car. Alright, so I cut back the existing bit of Wheelarch. Well, I fit this over the top, marked it, cut it out, trimmed it back a little, and I've just got this tacked in. And our panel will go over the top and sit alright there. I have had to go in, once it was tacked, I kind of stuck a dolly inside here and to tip it over a little bit. And you see like where it wanted to sit based on the old flange actually puts this a little bit further back rather than right up in the corner of this piece. But that's fine. So I'm just going to have to flatten, or fiddle with my bend so those two things meet up, and then put a little triangle replacement in there. I'll get that done and then we'll have a look. Well, I got that welded in. Got a little triangle of metal there, that welded in, it's all done, completely run out of welding gas, so I've just, one last thing I can do, I'll take my template that I made before cutting stuff away, stuck a scribe through to mark where the drain hole goes, so I'll get that drilled and then pack up, because can't do much more without welding gas. Well, there we go, and that is done. Well, as done as it can be for the moment. And what's also done is this video, because I can't do any more welding. And I didn't want to anyway, to be honest. So, we got through that rear quarter, got the outer wing chopped off, the repair panel test fitted, I'm going to say. Wheelarch repaired, or inner Wheelarch repaired in two places. The inner strengthener plate in the boot repaired. Top of the outer wing, I've done a fair bit actually in this week. And the next thing has got to be either do the boot floor, because I can't put the wing repair panel on. Well, I could, but I want to be able to spot weld the boot floor on, which means I need to leave that wing repair panel off, so I've got the access to get the spot weld. So either go there or go back towards the front of the car and deal with some of the front wing, the corner of where the front wing meets the front of the bonnet. Anyway, that'll be for next time. Don't know what next video is going to be anyway, because the Spitfire's engine has gone off to be machined. So how long that's going to take, not sure, but they're usually pretty quick once I've got it. I've been taking advantage of the sunny weather to paint myself up a spare alloy rocker cover to go on the Spitfire. And the Crackle Black paint seems to come out alright, which is nice. Anyway, whatever it is, I will see you then. So thanks everyone for watching, commenting, subscribing. If you're not already subscribed and you've got this far into the video, please consider doing so, because it will help me out. And I'll see you next time.